Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. So I had to look through the building menus a little bit. I was trying to figure out what exactly we need to do to unlock interpreting the old one's meaning, and thus the second portion of our tech tree. We need a scrying pool, a shrine of the old ones, and a geomantic pylon. We're already building geomantic pylons. The shrine of the old ones is one of... here we go. Is one of the purple buildings. It's this middle one. So we got to build one of these somewhere, and I'd prefer to build it in a major settlement, because if we're going to go to all the trouble of making it, we may as well be able to upgrade it to get us a Bastillodon with a solar engine on its back. Because a solar engine is a giant laser weapon. It is a dinosaur with a giant laser weapon mounted on it, which is obviously a thing we need to have in our lives. The other building we need is this, the scrying pool. Now this I'd be totally comfortable building in a small settlement, because it's a tier 3 building that has no upgrades. It also increases campaign movement range for our armies starting in this region, so I'd like to do it like... honestly, Bel-Aliad would maybe be a really good place to build it. We have enough population to upgrade Bel-Aliad. We could maybe do this with the gold we get next turn, and then build it here. I guess it's going to be a little while before it would be finished there, because we have, what, is it a 4-turn build to do that, and then the build time for the scrying pool itself. But I guess we're going to get sequence of marching before we research any midline text anyway. It's probably okay. Yeah, the building probably will not be the bottleneck there. Alright, so what do we want to do with our money in the meantime? I would really love to have at least 3,200 gold next turn. Well, we're going to make more than 3,200 gold next turn. I can do whatever I want. Let's upgrade the gold mine. You see, as much as I want to upgrade the gold mine because it's a really good source of money, I am a little worried about us holding on to Bel-Aliad. Nah, you know what? Let's commit here. We will just take the defense of this particular settlement very, very seriously. Alright, do we have any new people to meet? It is probably the case that this area of Elfland is owned by this elf faction, so I think we're probably not going to meet anybody new by going west. Let's head up north around the coast. There are a lot of little tiny high elf nations on this island. Hopefully we can meet some new ones and trade with them. We stopped just short of seeing the settlement over there. Okay, well, I think we have all of the trade stuff going that we're going to get going this turn. So now we have to decide, what do we want to do with Tiktaq'to? I want to step out and ambush, go into ambush mode somewhere, try to bait them toward Bel-Aliad, I think. I'm just not exactly sure where. They won't have range to attack us this turn. Next turn, Bel-Aliad will have the increased garrison. I think what I want to do is head toward Martek. I want to move toward Martek, and if they don't come after us, maybe we just burn it down real fast, right? So I want to be in a position where if they march on Bel-Aliad, we might catch them on our side of the border, so that if we do get into a battle, we get beginning of turn replenishment, and in a position such that we can reach Martek in a single move on our next turn if we want to. I think that position fulfills all of those criteria. Alright, let's see what they got. I really would like to get the geomantic web upgraded, but I'm not 100% sure that that's based on, like, good strategy. It might just be that they've given me access to a number, and I would like to increase the number, because that's kind of how I am. We should go look at what the commandments actually do when they're leveled up. It might be the case that it's not really worth all the trouble. And then again, quote-unquote, all the trouble is really just build a single building in a couple of these provinces, right? I don't know. We'll have a look. So he's currently in mustering mode, but whatever he's recruiting probably will finish at the beginning of their turn, because he's in his own settlement, right? So he's in the local recruitment pool. I'm hoping that they will want to march out. If we can bait Thagan into a field battle and defeat him, I think we should be able to just take their entire settlement. We should be able to take their entire nation off the map. I do not think they will be able to rebuild in time to stop us. This is one of the benefits of having a significant amount of territory, is that even if things start to go really, really sideways, you can just rebuild before the enemy can finish conquering you. This early game where you have like 3 settlements, you are in grave danger if you lose a battle. So, like, this army comes south. This army is just going to head back to Al-Haik. Al-Haik has 13 units in its garrison and walls. I will say that walls are a little bit disappointing. Walls are going to get to be more of an annoyance for us. The Knights of the Flame, or are we at war with them? Is that the faction that joined us in the war, or that joined Thagan in the war? It is. Well, that's very annoying. Okay, those guys are going to Xandri, in fact. Yeah, that's a problem. Not them going to Xandri, but them going to Xandri while the Knights of the Flame push through our allies' territory. I guess they're not technically our allies, they're just our friends. And as such, they're not going to go to great lengths to defend us. That's a problem. Xandri will definitely not be able to stand up to an army that size. Well, what are we going to do here? Great Warding teeters on its axis and weakens for a moment. Before it recovers, the winds of magic burst forth in a tumultuous gyre around your army, greatly boosting their power reserve, but increasing the likelihood of miscasts. Okay, that's crappy. Like, the extra winds of magic are not even very useful to us. The winds of magic are sort of our, you can think of it as our resource pool for casting spells. The one spell we know is already very cheap, and it would be hard to run our Winds of Magic out by casting it. So this is almost entirely negative for us. Later in the game, when we have cooler, more expensive spells, stuff like that will be beneficial.
Do you take me for a churl?
So we don't see any great units here. These mounted yeomen are much worse cavalry units than proper knights. But like, Tiktaq'to and Al-Kalabad are not super well defended, because they're not on the front of the war, because I thought we were being covered by our friend here.
From the Lady of the Lake. What do I am no churl.
Yeah, this is inconvenient. Well, any chance we could negotiate these dwarves into our war? The dwarves actually like these guys quite a bit. What if I gave you all of my money? I can't imagine this is going to take the chance off of low. Yeah, alright. We're not going to be able to talk him into the war. So now we have to decide. How far are we from... We are 2 turns away from being able to summon this land. I wonder if maybe we ought to hire a lord, start building an army in Tiktaq'to, and then just replace him with this land in 2 turns. Alright, so... we could run for Xandri, but we will not be able to take it. Or we accidentally moved forward enough to attack Al-Haik. Do these guys only have the 2 settlements that we see here? No, they have 3. Oh, right, Martek. We knew that. Okay, so... Al-Haik is their only major settlement. I think maybe we just go here. We'll take this port. If they want to take Xandri, we'll take Al-Haik, and then they will find themselves at a significant economic disadvantage. And we can just attack right away now, because the Carnosaur has the Siege Attacker trait. So yeah, call it a lightning strike battle, and let's just go. Our Salamanders and our Carnosaur will have a hard time contributing here. They have way more bows than the last army that we fought in a settlement. And Foot Squires are actually pretty good fighters. This is not going to be super easy, but I think it is necessary. We have to end the Thagan's errantry threat quickly, because apparently we're going to have a lot more problems. But we could have the Carnosaur work as a battering ram. He's like a very fast battering ram. we'll just put him through the door as quickly as we can, and then he and the salamanders and, like, the red-crested skinks can push in. We could have people try to climb the walls, but I don't know that I think that that's a super valuable thing for us to do. We're definitely going to have flyers dropping rocks on all of the archers who are set up on the walls. I don't know. I'm not super sanguine about this. It is worth noting, of course, that we will not have to worry about a full-strength counterattack from their army, because they moved at full march speed, so they'll have to move at full march speed to get back, which means they won't be able to attack. So now that we have a caster, we'll get to start by observing the pool of winds of magic, and we have the option to gamble some of our winds of magic for a better starting pool. This is the pool of resource that we draw from. When it says that, like, a spell costs... we can't see a spell wheel yet until the battle starts. When it says that it costs, like, 4, this is the resource that we draw from. And then as this pool empties, this bar... You can see here the recharge rate. This bar ticks more power into the pool over time, but once the bar is depleted and the pool is depleted, you're just out of ability to cast spells for that battle. 30 is the best we could get, so we'll just... No sense in gambling. Yeah, see our spell in the top right there. It costs 4 winds of magic and has a 19-second cooldown. We are not going to run it out. I'm very annoyed. I'm very annoyed about that higher miscast chance. So let's have the flyers start over here. We're going to have our ground army start on this side and the flyers start over here in the hopes of getting them to distribute their units along the wall in a non-optimal way. Carnosaur needs to start straight up front because his deal is just run as fast as you can at the wall. And a bunch of our units are just going to get shot a bunch, which I don't love. Like, let's have salamanders over here. There's a dead spot against the wall right there, which I think we're going to try to jam a lot of our units into while we figure out the gate situation. That's a very dangerous thing to do if the enemy has access to, like, artillery or anything, because then they'll just jam projectiles down in that spot, but not a big deal for us. The Carnosaur goes and opens the gate. You guys... Whoa. You guys get over here, and we'll figure it all out later. And they did indeed spread their army out along the wall in the hopes of capturing some of our flyers in the fire, and we're just going to leave that part of the battlefield immediately. Go forth, great Carnosaur. Rampage on that door. I will say they have a lot of foot squares, but they don't have that many spears. They don't have that much anti-large. So I am hopeful that the Carnosaur will be a terrifying beast once it's able to get in on them. Okay, that's a pretty good start for them. Let's have these guys fly over here. We got a lot more rocks to drop. So they have a couple units of spearmen at arms. Those are the things we have to be most worried about. We have a pretty good rock dropping situation over here, though. And notice their peasant archers are already kind of panicking, just from proximity to our dinosaurs. Wow, that was really effective. Holy crap! All right, let's see some people. These people get in here and drop some big rocks on these very tightly grouped dudes. How is the Carnosaur doing? Alright, he's slamming himself against the gate as hard as he knows how. Wow, he's actually done 30% damage to it already. He's a really good battering ram. Alright, over here, are we all inside? Okay, let's make sure that the people who are sort of sticking out into the firing arc of this tower get all the way inside the safe zone. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna make this work for you. This is gonna be very good. Yeah, it almost feels unfair, you know? This rock dropping strategy is way better than I would have expected it to be. Oh, they've opened the gate a little bit. I think that was an accident. I don't think they opened the gate strategically there. Their dudes panicked and are trying to run away from the bombs. That's pretty funny. All right, well, I guess let's come through and... Oh, the gate is considered open. There's a bug that happens sometimes where, like, the gate is considered open for the purposes of the AI moving through it, but you can see we have the little red X on our cursor that indicates I can't issue orders over here because there's no way to get there. So my units still consider that gate to be closed. I do wish they would fix that. As far as I know, the only way to resolve the issue is to continue damaging the gate until it is destroyed. Alright, so this is our guy who can shoot from the sky. I guess just hammer at these spearmen. And the other archers have come and are trying to shoot us down, so... Question here is, do we turn around and bomb them, or do we throw more rocks over here? Okay, they've lost control of this tower. So now that they've lost control of this tower, we can move our units out into a more aggressive position. One thing I definitely want to do is get the salamanders into shooting position, all of the blowgun units into some kind of shooting position. Hold on. Do not run all the way over there. This tower is still held by the enemy. And then we can take the red-crested skinks over here. And dude is still working on the gate. He'll get there. Yeah, let's turn around and blow up some of those guys. Actually, you can start shooting at random dudes. Tiktaq'to can come over here and kill people who are running away. There is a lot of value in having units who are fast enough to attack people while they're fleeing. It can sometimes be a little bit of a problem. Jesus Christ. These peasant bowman units are not prepared for actual combat. Okay, you guys focus over here for a moment. These flyers can get on those dudes. And don't let them tell you who's boss. Okay, it looks like now the gate is actually open because the Carnosaur is on the other side of it. For the moment, the Spearmen at Arms are not actually fighting us. That will not last. We got to make sure we do as much damage to them as we can while they're still fleeing. I guess you guys just try to, like, jam through the... Nope, I actually still can't issue orders on this side of the gate. This is annoying. This is an annoying bug. Alright, well, we'll just have people pick up dudes who are running through. We maybe should put the salamanders on don't fire at will right now. Please don't attack unless explicitly ordered to attack. On account of I don't want all of my guys to get blown up. And the mage needs to stay way up here. I guess the Carnosaur's engaged in combat. Give it the buff. Those dudes are permanently broken. These are not Fire Leech Bolas, so I'm not too worried about them firing into melee. Yes, I care more about the spears than I do about the swords. Make sure those guys don't come back. Nope, still can't give orders on the other side of the wall. Hey, dinosaur, could you maybe finish bashing that gate up? Because apparently it's still closed. Is he hitting it? I can't tell. Yes, okay, he's hitting it again. Okay, flyers are doing some good work here. This is a very different style of play than my previous campaign, I'll say that. Okay, all the guys outside the wall have broken permanently. Yeah, so we can just let them leave. There's no reason to keep killing them. We don't have to get out of position there. Okay, there we go. It is now properly all the way closed. Can you help him? Can we put a little bit more work in on that? Alright, those archers are permanently broken as well, so let's just come over here and shoot some more at... I guess we can start shooting at these knights. We're not going to be quite as effective with the explosives due to a smaller number of higher health units. But they actually do pose a threat in real combat, so we should probably make sure they die. Actually, you guys can come over here and help with this. Because I think the dinosaur and Tiktaq'to are probably going to be able to handle this part. Okay, these are not fire leech bullets. We can have them fire into this safely. So you can see there's an ownership indicator above the gate. We almost, like, we're starting to get control of the gate. If we run these guys off, maybe I'll just be able to open it manually. The Carnosaur, apparently, is not great at figuring out how the gate controls work. If you just have somebody, like, climb over the wall and take control of the gate, you can work it yourself that way. Okay, there we go. Now I think we're... Okay, now we own the thing and we can actually move through. Number one big priority is getting the salamander hunting pack established over here in a way that allows them to fire... And I can't quite get both of the units to fit into the area. See, I'm trying to, like, draw the formation on the ground. Sometimes the game is not great about city streets. I'll just give them orders like that. That'll probably have them facing the correct direction-ish. Yeah, the number one most important thing is getting the salamanders into a position that if the cavalry decide to charge us, the salamanders can just hit them with a huge wave of fire. Skink Chief can run over here and start working on their lord. Do any of our flying units over here still have ammo? Yeah, you have a little bit left. We're actually doing pretty good damage here. Yeah, just pick a unit of horses and shoot at it. Okay, these salamanders are sort of doing the thing. It is the case that sometimes units get stuck in the gate, especially while there are living enemies in the area. So it's going to take them a minute to fit through. We might actually be able to make things better by having Tiktaq'to get out of there to sort of reduce the mass clog. Carnosaur can also get out of the way. And I didn't realize Tiktaq'to still had his rock. Does the cast... Okay, no. Tiktaq'to is the only person... No, Tiktaq'to is not the only person. I need a clearer indicator of who has rocks left, because apparently I am not able to keep it straight. Alright, Tiktaq'to, get over here and drop somewhere. Yeah, there we go. There are enemies there. Look at these poor guys. I actually do feel a little bit bad for them. What are they supposed to do in this situation? We can move the salamanders up a little bit, I guess. Also, hey, where the hell is everybody else? You guys maybe want to just start running? The Carnosaur is here to break the charge, and the salamanders are here to shoot fire at horses, which seems like a cruel thing to do. I mean, they're still running forward. You gotta give them that. I would have surrendered the instant I saw the Carnosaur. But they charged forward into the wall of fire for a good 15 seconds there. If that ain't bravery, I don't know what is. Losses 14. Unbalance a power bar. Did not have a lot of faith in us. All right, so we're gonna settlement trade with Thagan's Errantry a little bit here. By occupying this settlement, we're gonna make it so we don't lose our trade contracts immediately when our port goes under, because now we have this port. So that'll be good for continuing to develop our trade relationships. And now, honestly, we might have removed his recruitment buildings. Like, this may have been where he had all of his recruitment stuff. So he might not be able to rebuild from any of his losses. We might be able to just take him down through attrition. And I'm hoping we make quite a lot of money off of this, because we need to finance that second army. So yeah, we'll start recruiting some stuff now. Then we will In 2 turns, we'll do the Rite of Awakening, get a Slan Mage Priest, and have him take over control of the second army. Yeah, that was pretty good. Turns out the Bretonnians have some pretty nice stuff. Definitely occupy. Got ourselves another man spawn sacrifice. He's not equipped on anybody because all of our characters already have one. And we've executed captives after battle multiple times. I didn't choose to execute anybody there, but this is pretty good for us. You know, those Knights of Origo are going, ooh, I think we made the right choice. That peace treaty was a good idea. We're still obviously going to annihilate them. Alright, so large settlements have walls, naturally, and they have naturally larger garrisons than small settlements do. For example, Tlaq'to here has a 9-unit garrison with no garrison improvements, while like Al-Kalabad has 5. But there is still a garrison building you can build in a large settlement that makes the settlement even better, improves the projectiles that come out of the towers along your wall, gives you army abilities that you can use in combat. So, given that there's going to be some fighting over Al-Haik a little bit, I'm wondering if maybe we ought to use this building slot for that. Also, part of me wants to just put recruitment structures in. Maybe we won't need to, though. We're doing very well in these battles. This is definitely going to become a recruitment region, but maybe it doesn't need to be one right this second. Alright, well, hold on. Let's talk about the second army. Let us recruit a lord. So, do we want a Source Old Blood? I guess it sort of doesn't matter. Well, whoever it is that we end up hiring here, he probably will be the actual lord for our third army, so we want someone good. A Source Old Blood is much more of a tough, fighty infantry unit, while I'm assuming a Red-Crested Skink Chief will be a little bit more glass cannon. I think I like campaign movement range a lot. You probably have noticed. Yeah, let's get Quantu in here. Oh, I totally forgot about this. This is actually a really good time to have the Raise the Banners buff. Alright, so you get inside the settlement so you're not immediately killed. And then let's start putting together an army, because we are going to need to have a real army, and we're going to need to have it real soon. I kind of want to grab some Ripperdactyls, but I'm wondering if we should only hire single-turn recruitment units here, because we should fill this army as fast as possible. Like, maybe go 1 turn worth of hires. We'll start getting the global recruitment pool working, too. So let's get... What is the cheapest thing that we are likely to actually hire? It's probably Red-Crested Skinks. Let's have 3 of them coming in through the global recruitment pool. Next turn, we'll get another 3 units coming in this way. If we're not going to be able to afford the building upgrades we wanted, I guess we may as well get those in the queue right now. And they should probably be some flyers, right? Let's get some Fireleech Bola guys, and then... Okay, so in 2 turns, we'll have a 10-unit army down here. Unfortunately, he's going to be at Tiktaq'to by then. But this is not about prevention, it's about undoing the damage. We are too late for prevention. Okay. Turns out the main High Elf faction of Lothern here is doing pretty well in their quest to unite the island through violence.
The majesty of the Phoenix Court. Now,
would you guys be into a trade agreement? Because I would really love a trade agreement. Okay, cool. We have to be a little bit careful here, because, like, Lothern's not going to like that we're hanging out with Trace, but we can kind of let the elves resolve all their politics internally and hopefully come out on the other side of that just fine. You know, listen, I just love peace. That's all it is. Okay. Oh, we can't get a trade agreement with Clan Angron. We can't even ask them because there's no they don't have a port, so they can't trade with us. And then how are we doing with the Southern Realms dudes? Okay, with the Border Princes, we're all the way up at 5.
Nor are we foes.
Disagree with that.
Still no chance, huh? If you're wondering why we were able to establish trade agreements with the High Elf nations while they're at -10 approval of us, and we're still not able to do it with the Border Princes while we're positive, I believe it is the case that the High Elf AI is just coded to love trade. That's like a racial thing of High Elves. They love ocean trade. So we'll get leadership +3 on all of our armies. This is not huge, but we want that sequence of marching very badly. It's possible these guys will just turn and attack Tiktaq'to. I'm guessing they will prefer to go after an unwalled small garrison settlement for an easy conquer. That's been my experience with the AI usually, but if they were actually to turn and start sieging Tiktaq'to, that would pose an interesting problem for us. Because Tiktaq'to has walls, but it's not really going to be super good at defending itself. I will say that cavalry-heavy armies tend to have problems with walls. Because you can't use a cavalry unit to scale the walls, but they also can't. They're not big enough to damage the gates, and they don't have a dinosaur, so they would have to spend time building battering rams, and then during the actual siege, they have to try to keep their cavalry safe from us while they're actually getting the battering rams to work. It's possible they would not be able to take Tiktaq'to with their army composition, because we know they have a bunch of yeoman cavalry and stuff. You really want, well, what my advice previously would have been, you really want a good heavy infantry army for taking over a castle, but maybe an air force does an okay job, it turns out. Or some artillery. If you can get some artillery, you can just open up the gates, or frankly, the walls, in that way. I don't actually know a lot about the Bretonnian artillery. I definitely played a Bretonnia campaign at one point, but I don't remember. They have trebuchets, I know that, but I don't remember if they're any good. I'm trying to, like, what did I even do during that campaign? Because the Bretonnians have a whole weird, like, chivalry system, and their goal for winning the game is not to take over territory in the same way that our goal is. It's to get enough chivalry to be like the most chivalrous knight in Bretonnia, and then you go on a quest and defeat a great evil. I really do appreciate how different the campaign objectives are from faction to faction, but probably in Mortal Empires, they have to acquire at least some territory. Oh, they are going straight for Tiktaq'to. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Thagan's just going to take Xandri now. There would be no point in turning around. Interesting that it gives us a better chance against him. I feel like the balance of power bar is better against him than it was against that smaller army, wasn't it? Well, here's the thing. We definitely cannot win this battle. We will lose here. But we'll probably do quite a bit of damage. I almost want to just hit auto-resolve, because I think the balance of power bar here is representing a better result than we will get manually. Because you saw how we almost lost against a force that had no archers. These archers have poison. And also against a force that had, I think, less cavalry than this. Like, our spears were already almost worn down. I'm just going to hit auto-resolve, because I think the balance of power bar may... yeah, like that's not a bad result. I'm not sure that we could have gotten that result doing it ourselves. But like I said, he's probably screwed now. He probably doesn't have the ability to rebuild from any of those losses. So what I want to do with our army is just march east and go fight him before he can replenish much of his army. But maybe we have to speed march our army south? So Tiktaq'to being sieged means a couple of things. Number one, it means we don't get any of our recruitment done. For some reason, two of these units are still showing here as being recruitment blocked, and all the other ones aren't appearing on the thing at all. I'm not sure why. Like, they should all be appearing as recruitment blocked, or they should all have been removed from the queue, right? Strange that they're treated differently.
Do you take me for a churl?
It also means that the construction in this settlement is paused, which means that we're not working toward our Slan Mage Priest anymore. What we could do is dismiss that army, summon a new lord out in Tiktaq'to, and just start rebuilding that same army. Yeah, this is annoying. What are we going to do? We don't really need Xandri back. Like, me going to the east is not about recapturing Xandri, it's about killing Baron Thagan. Leaving them with just weak settlements that we could push through.
These lands are ours by the right granted from
Out
the
of
Lady
curiosity,
the Lake. What
could
do you
I
want?
bribe you into going away? How does this work for your
I
chivalry?
refuse.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely got to get a second army online. It is kind of remarkable how unchivalrous and treacherous these Bretonnian forces have been so far, though. So probably what we do is we head over in this direction, go into ambush mode in the hopes that they won't see us, and then next turn, we should have enough movement to make it all the way to Xandri and fight him. And we are all the way ready to fight again. And even if he does see us, if he wants to come out here and fight us, that's huge. The worst possible version of this is that he stays in Xandri and just keeps replenishing.
No.
And I think we'll still kill him. I think we'll still beat him even at full health, but I would love to not have to fight it that way. But yeah, there's no sense in keeping this going, and I guess we're just going to disband this army entirely. Because they're not going to be able to provide us any benefit there. And unfortunately, we cannot re-recruit him immediately, so I'll just grab another... Let's grab this guy. I cannot pronounce his name, but he lowers enemy leadership in the region, and that seems pretty good. Okay. All we have the ability to recruit right here is units from the building that are in this settlement, because this is the only settlement that's not sieged. That's fine. I'll just get a whole lot of flying units. We'll figure it out later. We probably need to start... I would love to get some Ripperdactyls. So 130 weapon strength with a plus 10 bonus versus infantry. A ton of its armor piercing. They have Frenzy. They have Vanguard deployment. But we need a lot of rock dropping, right? If we're going to have a real chance of defeating them. Them having a strong charge bonus and frenzy and mostly being armor piercing is going to make them pretty good against even the developed Bretonnian knight units. But these guys are all large, and the Bretonnian units that are anti-large will definitely be a problem. Well, for right now, it's Fire Leech Bolas all the way. Let's get some recruitment done. And you can just keep sailing around and trying to meet people. That red glow you see in the distance there is the presence of the Sword of Cain. We're not going to worry too much about that. That's a big, powerful magic elf sword. At some point, we may come into contact with it, and we may have to think about it then. We do not have to think about it now. Okay, you are not into us. Alright, we'll let elf politics play out slowly over there. Let's see what Baron Thagan does. If we lost Tlaq'to, like if we let that army build up enough that they were actually able to take Tlaq'to, it would not be a big problem. We would definitely be able to take it back. If we can defeat Baron Thagan, we don't necessarily have to fight Thagan's errantry anymore right at this moment. We know he'll be pretty broken and it'll be hard for him to rebuild. We could just immediately march south and deal with the Knights of the Flame. If the Knights of the Flame have another army behind that one, that could make things tricky. But they're a pretty small power, I think. We might be seeing their entire military. And I really don't think they're well suited to taking a walled city. We could have the garrison of Tiktaq'to engage with them. We could sally out into the field and attack them. But I don't much want our army to fight them on an open field. And they do have more guys than we do. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to run them off. They're not gonna be able to take the city, but they're doing a good job of slowing us down in a way that we can't really deal with. I guess I don't actually know what units are in the garrison at Tiktaq'to. Maybe that's not right. Maybe we could take them in an open field battle. We'll go have a look in a moment. But I probably at least want to wait until the Ripperdactyl army, the backup army, not Ripperdactyl, the Pterodon army is finished. Because we can have just that Saurus Old Blood with those units of pterodactyls, or pterodons, run over to the capital and sandwich the sieging army between him and the capital garrison. Let the capital garrison do most of the on-the-ground fighting, while the backup air force just drops rocks and hurls fire leeches. That should be more than sufficient to run them off. I'm very annoyed with them delaying my slan, though. Also, by delaying our slan, they are also delaying our Lord Croak quest. Okay, Baron Thagan did in fact run straight into our ambush. How are we going to want to do this? Well, let's get in there and figure it out. So yeah, that was kind of what I figured. I thought there was a chance that he would just go straight for Al-Haik if he couldn't see us, because it looks like it's relatively easy to take back, and the fool, he's fallen for it. Now, I will say that a cavalry-heavy army is a little bit better on recovering from an ambush than an infantry-heavy army. They're going to be able to wheel around and engage a lot faster. But all we have to do here is do a kind of okay job of defeating them. And he's effectively out of the game entirely. We definitely need salamanders in immediate shooting position. Sorry, we need salamanders in immediate shooting position on the cavalry, though. We have to run forward a little bit. We need other units. Let's see. Let's have the flyers be... I guess the cavalry are going to ride straight for us. The flyers should be on this side, because we want to fly over the cavalry as quickly as possible. We don't have a lot of anti-large. I probably want almost everything to be together. We can put the big dinosaur over here and have him charge behind the cavalry. He's probably faster than they are, right? Yeah, they have 75 speed to his 100. Man, his 108 now, because he's starting to level up. What a good unit. So as much as this sucks, we're going to have to put the skinks right here, and they're going to have to just absorb the cavalry charge. We can use our skink force to deal with their infantry a little bit. Kite and poison and slow. And then... I don't know, I guess that's all we have, huh? Yeah, this is not going to be quite as good as the last ambush, where we just completely routed those dudes. So he has Frenzy, he might Rampage. He does cause terror. He has a huge bonus versus large. Like, he's very good at fighting horses. Yeah, I think your plan is just run as fast as you can toward these knights. If all the knights turn around and charge him, I guess that would be a problem. That's something I didn't really plan for very well. Salamander's got to fight here. Red-crested skinks have to move forward and just be ready to absorb a charge. I guess if the knights turn around and fight him, that means the salamanders are pretty safe, and that's actually okay for us. And we need one unit of Pterodon riders whose job it is to get on these archers immediately. We have seen already that a single rock drop is capable of completely destroying a unit of peasant bowmen. Yup. Alright, try to get those guys. in melee, losing decisively. They've been in combat with those guys, with that Carnosaur for 5 seconds. All right, let's have the Fire Leech Bolas. I do love the fact that they can fire just sort of in all directions around them while running. Have some of the Fire Leech Bolas immediately target these guys over here. You can target those ones. You guys can target the ones that are actually engaged in melee. And to make rock drops happen. Gotta try to minimize the amount of time that they have to charge into the... God, look at how tightly they're grouped here. Go this way a little bit. Oh, I should have my Skink Chief on their lord. And actually, their melee troops are thin enough on the ground over here that Tiktaq'to can go after that guy as well. And you probably need to buff... Probably not the Carnosaur. I know like the Carnosaur's in the middle of the ship, but he's doing alright. We need to buff armor and weapon damage on these red-crested skinks. They've got to hold. Make sure that we are throwing... Well, yeah. Make sure that we're throwing poison javelins at the knights. Let's kill their stats. And it looks like their melee troops are just kind of doing nothing, which I really appreciate. You can probably move the blowguns up a little bit. I know there's a lot of pausing, and I know that's maybe not the most engaging possible thing to watch. I apologize. This is a pretty micro-heavy army. That's always the case with cavalry armies, but it's even more the case with cavalry armies that have a lot of abilities that you have to use. Well, somebody's got to do something about this. You know, that's still pretty good, actually. Can I get you over here? I love the fact that he has not yet rampaged. Alright, so this salamander hunting pack needs to shoot... Honestly, they're almost all broken already. This salamander hunting pack somehow ended up in melee. They're probably the unit I had them shooting at broke early. Okay, so does somebody over here have rocks yet? Okay. We are going to need these rocks. Alright, so we're doing our best against that guy. Actually, you should turn and shoot them. Carnosaur, yep, he's already on his target. Of course he is. He's very good at his job. I think those guys are under control. Both of you make sure that guy breaks. I'll say this, the red-crested skinks, we've been putting them through the ringer in a very serious way. And they have held up. Tiktaq'to needs to go fight their lord. We just need to break them all down, right? I think those javelin dudes are totally dead. I run these guys off. Bring these red-crested skinks back into the middle of the army. This hunting pack, I guess, can go after... I don't know. I think we're about to see an army-wide break. Yeah. Never mind. We're good. Yeah, we really are. We're putting the skinks through hell, and they are holding up. Probably a good Lizardman player would have a bunch of sources by now. But we've been very focused. It's hard to find time to build recruitment buildings. Alright, so Baron Thakin got crushed here. His army will not actually be removed. He'll have some movement left to run away from us. But he doesn't have the recruitment structures to replenish any lost units. So if we can pursue him and make some of these units actually die, or actually eliminate his army entirely, he's going to be... This force is going to be unable to get any vengeance on us, which means we can just move Tiktaq'to south. Let's go ahead and replenish. We are on the march here. We leveled up enough to unlock a new Regiment of Renown. Oh, his army was in march mode, I think, which means that they actually do get deleted when they lose the battle. Well, that's good for us. So yeah, this is what he has now. He has this lord recruiting some basic dudes, and we can actually see what recruitment structures he has because we have a settlement in that same province. So let's go look. Ooh, a unit of Cold One Spear Riders. That is actually very useful. Defeat Amory Walden in battle to get +5 leadership on all armies for 4 turns. That's a pretty irrelevant buff. We got ourselves a prize hunter, but we already have one of these in this lord's army. And yet another man spawn sacrifice. Who's taking all of these man spawns into our army? Alright, what do we want next? I don't know that we need to hire a lot more skink chiefs right at this moment. Probably speed and ammunition up for our pterodon riders would be pretty good to have. And our caster is leveling up. So we could put another skill point into Wissen's Wild Form, which will reduce its cooldown and its cost, and our chance to miscast it when overcasting. But I think I want to grab some of these new skills. So, Flock of Doom is like an area damage over time thing. It is alright against small weak units, but we're already, like, large groups of small weak units, but we're already pretty good against large groups of small weak units. Speed and physical resistance, or a direct fire missile. Let's pick up a direct fire missile. Give me something a little bit more active to do with my caster, because you know what I need is to be pressing more buttons in combat constantly. So we probably do have to take Xandri back. Well, he's not going to be able to do anything with it right now. He needs for it to gain a bunch of population before he could even build anything there. What do we see in Kofar? He has the building that lets you recruit infantry, but that's it. What about Martek? Again, the building that lets you recruit infantry. So he has no ability to make cavalry units at all. Honestly, if we put up the garrison building in Al-Haik, I don't know that he'll be able to take Al-Haik back from us, even if we completely abandon it. So that seems like a pretty good way to do this. And then I think we actually are just going to have Tiktaq'to speed march to the south. Well, I guess the question is, do we need to?
Do you take me for a churl?
So we still, somehow, despite the fact that he is literally pressed up against our walls, cannot see what is in his army. But a lot of it's bad cavalry units. So we'll finish this recruitment next turn. We'll move this army toward... we're probably going to have to move for 2 turns before we actually get over there. What is in Tlaq'to's garrison? There are a couple units of Croxigors, a Feral Stegodon, which is a pretty strong anti-infantry monster, it looks like. So we don't have a lot of spears. We have some guys with javelins, we have some Saurus warriors with maces and shields. Croxigors are tough, but they rampage. Oh, maybe they don't. Oh no, they totally do. Yeah, they rampage sometimes when they get injured. So we might not have a lot of control over this battle. I think maybe we want to move this army in, but I don't think that Tiktaq'to will be necessary to fend them off, and I think he'll show up after the problem is resolved. So maybe we just focus on taking out Thagan's errantry. The Knights of the Flame are building another army over here. How many settlements do they control? 2. Okay, and we can see them both. We know where they are. So this would take us into another province down here, where the followers of Nagash are. Oh, that's bad. Those are bad guys. Those are guys who are not going to get along with the Great Plan. I can tell you that right now. Maybe it's worth it for us to just claim the whole coast. That was not my plan. That was not the direction I wanted this to go in. I wanted to get Khemri. Yeah, maybe we can leave Thagan's errantry in control of Xandri. We have Al-Haik, which is a much more durable port. We'll worry about this later. He can't recruit from here anyway. And we'll just go forward and press our advantage. We can stay on our side of the line while going in full march mode here. So we will get replenished back to full. We didn't pick up the Regiment of Renown Saurus spear guys that we earned, and my question is, do we want to kick out some of these weakish but pretty well advanced units for expensive regiments of renown? Probably we do. Like the skink cohort with the javelins, it's nice to have more poison, because we definitely have a lot less poison in the army than we used to. But we still have the normal pterodon riders. We still have the chameleon skinks. These skirmishers need to be at some point replaced with chameleon skinks as well. Yeah, alright, let's do... Well, I guess we don't have a need to do a replacement right now, because we could do both of these at the beginning of next turn. They both have higher upkeep costs than the things that we would replace with them. So let's leave the army relatively cheap for the moment. And then I'm going to have Uldomoran move... I think we're going to go around the north side of the island here, see if there are any other factions up this way. And then he's going to turn around and head back toward this continent, because there are a lot of other ports to explore. Let's move like this much, see what we can see. Kind of curious what faction is in control of the sword. Okay, it's Lothern. That probably means that even if there are other elven factions over here, they'll probably be folded into Lothern pretty quickly. So let's go back to the continent, meet all the other Bretonnians, the Empire and stuff. There are a lot of potential trading partners in that direction. And I think with that we are good. We don't want to spend a lot of money, because I want to make sure that we have enough money. What is it going to cost us to get these two? 2,400 in total? So we could spend like 1,200 and not be disruptive. Got that building already. Yeah, as much as I would like to upgrade our settlement buildings and stuff, I don't think we can really afford to. Alright. If they attack Tlaq'to, I think they will lose. But I do not think we can attack them safely. So they're just going to sit there and damage our economic growth, and we're going to sit here and watch them do it, which is annoying. Yep, it looks to me like Lothern is going to be successful in taking over here. That is actually just fine for us. Lothern already has a trade agreement with us. We have some contracts with their enemies, which will lower their opinion of us a tiny little bit, but the contracts that we have with them will raise our opinion with them a whole lot more. We don't really care which group of High Elves it is that takes over Ulthuan out here. We just want it to be one that likes us and is willing to trade with us. I do wonder if he's maybe wandered into a situation he's not going to be able to escape from here, though. That seems bad. I guess he can sail out of the port, but then Misnar is just going to fall to trace again. They made a bunch of changes to the campaign AI to make them better at managing their settlements and better at like building their armies, I believe. But I don't know if they upgraded their strategic thinking at all. Like running over here to take Misnar, I think was zero value for him. He's just going to lose it again immediately and have to flee off of the island. Pirates of Sartosa are no longer at war with Tilia. It's probably a good thing for us in the sense that we want Tilia to survive. But it might mean that we're no longer able to get a bunch of free favor from Tilia for killing Sartosa, which is a little unfortunate. We'll see. Maybe the enmity will persist beyond the conflict. The Knights of Arrigo are, I guess, declaring war on me? No, they would like a non-aggression pact. They're afraid. I think I'm willing to say yes to this for now, because I really don't want them declaring war on us during our campaign. We are absolutely going to eliminate them, but we will eliminate them later. Baron Thagan would like peace, and he's willing to pay me 1,400 gold for it. Sorry, buddy. That's a real 3 turns ago kind of offer to be making. We certainly cannot trust him. Once he's down to just Xandri, I'll be fine taking peace with him, and then we'll redeclare on him once we wipe out the Knights of the Flame. We don't actually need to see all of the pirate navies move around slowly. The fervor of your great Saurus warriors, again, don't have any, to combat agents of the ancient enemy is admirable, though it is starting to verge on fanaticism. Okay, so do we want leadership up? Our leadership's fine. We don't need to take a penalty to improve our leadership.
I am a lord of Bretonnia. Never.
Wow. How did he manage to recruit 8 units in a single turn? That's something. How's our garrison going here? We have units in the garrison. They are slowly getting up to snuff. What is in this army? Oh, nothing. I do not have to be worried about that. Well, we're definitely taking Martek. And I think we're going to just burn it. I think that's the plan. I would love it if my my dwarven allies would take this over. And if we take it, we're going to have to build a public order building there to keep it from rebelling, probably. And then we won't really get a lot of value out of owning it, you know? Well, let's fight the battle and then worry about it. I suspect this one is going to go very, very smoothly. I'm trying to think, like, what would be the worst thing for us to fight? An army that was heavy on good ranged units might be a problem for us, because we do rely on our flyers quite a bit. And we don't have a ton of military available for the purpose of disrupting ranged units. Like, we don't have a ton of infantry. So maybe that would be good. And that's the thing that the Bretonnians really don't have access to. Their only ranged units are those pretty weak peasant bowmen. At least as far as I'm aware. Oh, sorry. The mage does not have Vanguard deployment. Alright, so salamanders. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the salamanders yet. Let's just have everybody move up, right? Salamanders end up over here. Skinks end up in front of them. The ranged skinks need to be given a shorter move order because they're faster. Carnosaur probably should not just charge in by himself. Wizard needs to get up here. We can start throwing amber spears at people. Skink Chief goes after their lord immediately. We need... Let's have the Pterodon Riders, the normal Pterodon Riders, go after these 2 units of archers immediately. I'm going to have the Fire Leech Bolas go after the spears. Except for these ones, who are immediately coming over here to drop bombs. You can see they've realized what's happening. They are attempting to prevent it. They just want so badly not to have a lot of rocks dropped on them. Okay. Next group of Fire Leech Bolas. This is perfect. The archers ran into spearmen. You guys. Alright, at some point, we're going to run into an army composition that gives us some trouble, but it looks like it won't be today. They've run forward into salamander range, I see. Where is Tiktaq'to? Tiktaq'to, their lord, is getting all up in our way. Please handle this. Sorry, run is what I meant. You know what? We'll hit over here. This is where the enemy formation is the densest. And you guys should still have your rocks then. Okay, there's a lot of dudes over here. Oh, and look at the way they're grouping up. Their lord is already fleeing. That's just very embarrassing is what that is. Alright, let's have our priest throw some Okay, these guys are engaged in a lot of battle. Let's throw a wild form on those guys. And then probably our next thing to micro is making sure that he is making sure that he's in position to throw a good spear, right? So it's effective at a lot of ranges. Let's just try it out. Let's see what it does to these guys. I don't know that I've ever seen this spell before. Okay, it might be a better like anti-large sort of thing. We probably need to tell these salamanders not to shoot directly into melee with our own troops. You know what? Maybe the better play is have the red-crested skinks back off and tell the salamanders to redouble their efforts. Right, you fall in on those guys. Let's do a flanking move here. Okay, so a lot of our flyers have killed a lot of enemies. We got a lot of dudes broken over here. Let's just turn around and fire into the flanks of these guys. I think we can probably break this whole enemy force off pretty quickly. Yeah, you also shoot at them. Carnosaur's doing Carnosaur stuff. He's terrifying several units of enemies by himself. Hey, those guys are pretty healthy. Chase them. Their lord is going to run off the map pretty soon. Yeah, this army composition is very good against... I think it's pretty good in general, but it's very good against densely packed infantry units because of the explosions and the rocks and stuff. So having removed their ability to recruit cavalry has given us probably the best possible advantage against this faction. They are totally doomed. The Knights of the Flame still have all their recruitment stuff. That's a little bit more of a problem. Somehow we managed to kill enough troops to leave exactly the same number of guys remaining in both of the enemy armies. Also, we really didn't kill that many. A lot of these dudes just fled. And I think, until you get to foot squares, I think they're all basically just peasants that have had armor and weapons thrown at them. That probably has something to do with why. The question is, if we raise this, what are the odds that the dwarves are actually going to come and get it? Let's give them the chance. Alright, so we did it. We defeated Amore Walden. It was very difficult. Leadership up for everybody on account of our great heroism. Okay, a 30% missile resistance shield actually sounds pretty good. And we were given... Oh, we got this mission right before that battle happened, so now we have a Blessed Stegodon spawning. The old one, who even the slan of the second generation dare not name aloud, is angry. The skies burn with his wrath. He must be appeased quickly, and in doing so, he may issue a sacred spawning, whose reptiles will be special indeed. You know what? I was talking about grabbing the, Yeah, we should probably upgrade his drop sphere. That seems like a good idea. I was talking about grabbing the Regiments of Renown for this army, but maybe we should instead throw them into the army down south, huh? So we could gain the ability to overcast the armor spear to make it do greater armor-piercing damage and explosion damage. Yeah, let's buff up this armor-piercing spear thing. We don't really have a ton of great things to do against individual powerful units, and I think maybe that's a difficulty we need to address. Alright, so if we just grab both of the Regiments of Renown and also the Blessed Stegodon here. Now I think this army is looking pretty okay. I want to march to just outside of their movement range, and then we don't even necessarily have to be able to launch an attack against them next turn. I just need to be able to get close enough to have the garrison initiate an attack with this army as reinforcements. So what is the deal with this Stegodon? It has perfect vigor and poison missiles. Oh, I've seen these. This is like, it's a huge dinosaur and it has a platform on its back, and there's a bunch of skinks up there with javelins, throwing the javelins all the time. Perfect vigor, armored, armor piercing, massive bonus versus infantry. The missiles are almost entirely armor-piercing. Man, what a good dinosaur. This blessed spawning mechanic is just wonderful. You notice we're a little bit negative on cash right now. That's going to happen when you put together your second army. Don't stress too much about it. We will get it under control.
The laws of chivalry demand.
Did we maybe... Alright, cool. We can all be friends here. So these guys are at war with this faction, Musalon. Musalon is a group of vampires. I think we can... Yeah, we can see their settlement here. Musalon is a group of vampires that are somehow in the middle of Bretonnia. Probably the Red Duke who leads them was a Bretonnian knight in life. We will not be trying to make any treaties with those guys, because everybody hates them. That would be really bad for us in the long term. So do we want to try to... Given that we're negative on cash right now, I think maybe it would be a bad idea to do this. By the way, I apologize for the... there's some kind of extremely loud banging happening in the hallway because everybody who lives in my apartment building is very inconsiderate. We could go for some smaller upgrades. No, that's actually the same amount of money. I think I don't want to spend a lot of money while we're still negative on cash here. We have a little bit of a buffer to work with. Let's hold on to that. Alright, so if these guys don't attack Tiktaq'to this turn, I think we have defeated them and pushed them back. Unfortunately, we're still as many turns away from a slan as we were almost at the very beginning of the episode, which is annoying. Yep, he just has to run away. They lose Misnar immediately. Ah well, what can you expect from High Elves? So you can see some of the AI faction turns are starting to slow down a little bit. Ooh, Clan Scryer. The balance of power bar with them was completely yellow, which means that they just lost a major military battle. They don't have an army right now. So hopefully the people to our north are getting their Skaven issues under control. I don't know how good the AI is at seeing through the Skaven under Empire stuff. Like the fact that the Skaven settlements are not obviously Skaven settlements. It might lead them to not reclaim the areas as quickly as they need to, so who knows. Scryer might be able to rebuild their armies. Yeah, no big surprise there. If you're wondering where all of the other lizardmen in the world are, because there are a whole bunch of lizardmen factions, they're all like over on this western continent. We're probably not going to have a lot of contact with them, because I am not going to go to any lengths at all to get to the west. We played almost our entire last campaign on that western continent, and I'm sick of it. But yeah, I was saying, you're seeing the AI turns, some of them start to slow down. As each faction's situation gets more complicated, it seems to increase the amount of time it takes for the AI to make decisions with that faction very considerably. So we're probably actually going to see longer AI turn sequences later in the game, as it takes them longer to run each faction. Even though there will be a lot fewer factions by then. A lot of these orc factions you're seeing are sort of like to our northeast. There's a great big Badlands area up there. There's just like a lot of dwarves and a lot of orcs. And for our sake, we're kind of hoping that the orcs win. Or that the dwarves win, rather, because I don't want to have to deal with 1 million orcs coming over our northeastern border. I think, actually, we're not super well set up to fight an orc army. Like, infantry that's a little bit tougher. I guess orcs have leadership issues, so we might be able to just scare them with all the big rocks. Alright, Raymond, what's your move here? So they're sending another hero out in the direction... Okay, he did not move the army that's attacking Tiktaq'to, so I think those guys are doomed. And we can probably fast... We don't actually need to see all this other stuff happen. Thagan's infantry still pretty weak. They have, what, like a quarter army? Over to our west, we can definitely take them out. Alright, let's do one more of our own turns, because I want to resolve the situation with Tiktaq'to. Carry out a successful assassination attempt against Cassian Waldens. This is something that we would have to have one of our heroes do. Go after this guy in the field and drop him. And if we do it, we'll get a gleaming pendant that I don't particularly care for. I don't think we need that. So I'm going to ignore that mission. Alright, they've done a good job of keeping themselves just out of our attack range.
Tiktaq'to.
So, I mean, you know what we're going to do. We're going to pull our favorite trick here, where we just kind of get close, and then we go into ambush mode. If we are revealed here, I think probably what will happen is they will run away from us, which would be fine. But if they do anything other than that, obviously we snap them up in the field, and then we push over to Kofar. Alright, the dwarves have not moved on Martek yet. Boy, I hope they do. And then we get this army over here into reinforcement position, and we push these guys off. Yeah, and they just retreat. I think that's probably the smart move for them. So we're going to move into Tiktaq'to. It's pretty secure now. I think they're going to have a hard time pushing through. And now that we have Tiktaq'to back, all the money that Tiktaq'to is making is flowing into our coffers again properly. Okay, so we should be fine now. And now we can definitely go and take some of those settlement upgrades. Probably we want to upgrade Bel Aliad the most because we want to cap out the level of the gold mine. Alright, it's good for that to be resolved. What an annoying thing for them to have done. Alright, the main Bretonnian faction may end up in control of some very powerful ports, so we definitely want trade with them.
I am its king.
They are not interested in trade with us, though. Well, hopefully they'll see some of our great heroic deeds and change their minds. Alright, what about the Southern Realms? The Border Princes, okay, they like us quite a bit at this point. Still not okay with trade, huh? I wonder why they're being so difficult about this. We might be able to pull it with Estalia?
Not in my name.
Okay, well, we're getting closer. They'll all come around eventually. And I noticed that Sartosa is back at war with a bunch of people. Once we have the time, the freedom to move north and hit Sartosa, I think we'll see a lot of people become very friendly very quickly. So I guess we're good then. I don't know what these guys are going to do from here.
No.
You can see they've suffered quite a bit of attrition damage from hanging out in the desert and waiting. Oh, they had a field trebuchet the whole time. They could have just attacked the settlement. I don't know that that would have actually gone very well for them, but they could have tried at least. They could ride on Tiktaq'to. I don't know that this army is necessarily capable of defeating them in the field, although we do at least have some infantry in it now. We can't recruit because we're in march stance. We'll see what they do. Let's do one more cycle of enemy turns, and then we'll call the video there for the day. But now that we basically have repelled this two-pronged Bretonnian assault, I think we can probably finish them off pretty quickly. The Knights of the Flame still have the power of a relatively full military, but it seems like they're not as technologically advanced as Thagan's Errantry. They don't have the good cavalry units. And we managed to kill Thagan's Errantry easily enough, so this force that is larger, but each of its armies is weaker, I think should be pretty easy pickings for us. Another big benefit of getting out into the world and formally meeting a lot of factions is that even just seeing the balance of power bar underneath these factions' names can tell us a lot about what's happening in the world, even if we can't necessarily actually see their armies moving around. So like even the factions that we've met that we no longer have vision of, we know a little bit of like the narrative of their area by watching the change of the balance of power bars, which can lead to us realizing that we have opportunities that we might otherwise miss. For example, if we weren't currently embroiled in a war with every Bretonnian in the south, the fact that we saw Clan Scryer's bar be really yellow means that we could have immediately sailed north and just taken them out while they were weak. Which is the thing we might not have known to do if we had not been advised to get a hero up north and meet everybody. Okay, there were 2 dwarven armies in this settlement, weren't there? Maybe one of them moved north and capped that other settlement. Now that Tiktaq'to can build again safely, we're going to get access to our Rite of Awakening. That's going to give us access to Lord Croak, or at least the beginnings of access to Lord Croak. I'm very curious to see why we would prefer a dead spellcaster over a living one. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, those guys are going for the other settlement. They might be able to get it, but we will crush them after they take it. Because we can... Let's see, we can't get anywhere near it right now, but we can take a normal move into the desert, go into encampment mode, just do a little bit of single turn recruitment, and then crush this army there. Like, they'll definitely get Tiktaq'to. What does the garrison of Tiktaq'to look like? And Cold One Spear Riders. Okay, so these are the only units that are actually good against the cavalry. Yeah, they'll definitely get Tiktaq'to, but we'll endeavor to do as much damage to like their archers and their field trebuchet as possible. And then I think they're going to have a very hard time fighting us back off. We'll retake Tiktaq'to, and then by that point, Tiktaq'to will already be pressing them from the north, so they won't be able to send anything else back through the pass. Do we have military access? We don't. At the moment, if we were to try to move an army through their territory, they would get really mad at us. We need to fix that. And we don't need to fix it. It wouldn't be the end of the world if we had to route our second army around the mountains, but obviously it'd be a lot more convenient if we could just take them directly through. I guess one thing we could do with the second army is after we defeat Mogan, we could have them come up and reclaim the port over here. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, we don't need military access. We'll be fine. That's the plan, but it's going to have to be executed next time because we are out of time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back tomorrow to see us basically just slaughter a whole load more Bretonnians. I will see you then.